Okay, so next issue, the Baxter building. These two are banging. Okay. You're right, I do need to get out of the lab more often. Told you so. I love you, Sue. Don't say it enough. I know, I love you too, Reed. Sue's distracted because she's worried about Johnny. Okay. Daken's death has affected Johnny so much, you know. That's kind of crazy when you think about it, right? It affects him the way, like, think about it. If Peter Parker died, that would affect Johnny, okay? So greatly, like, come on, man. There was so much off-panel, okay? Living this life hasn't always been easy for him. He doesn't have that many friends, right? Oh, my God. Sue's right with that. He's not handling Doc's death very well. The rest of them don't really give too much of a shit. Makes it worse that the note Daken left us didn't actually lead to anyone. Give him time, Sue. I don't think that will be enough. I love kid. Here's Reed. Here's BS. Oh yeah, this is some bullcrap. That's how Daken comes back. Reed's back in his lab, as always. Okay. Somehow some bullcrap was happening. This part's weird. It's like Frank was getting attacked in the lab. Or something like that. And then Daken, like, kills the guy. I don't understand this scene. No matter how many times I reread it, I'm like, this doesn't make sense. But Daken's doing the same thing he always does to Ben. You're so cute. Whoa! Oh yeah, he's gonna kiss. Ooh, does Ben like that or not? He's like, you like that as much as I did? He's like, of course you did. No, Sue, it's not what you think. Blah, blah, blah. He's like, oh, we'll snuggle on a bench. If you don't break it, that is. He's like, break this! And here comes Johnny. He don't know who this is, but he's attacking him. You know? Coming into our home, attacking his nephew? And then this is when Daken goes up. Wait, Johnny? He's like, Johnny recognizes it. The little trademark. He's like, oh my God, it's Daken. How the hell is he back? It's not what you think. It can't be. They don't give a shit. Oh shit, what's he doing back? Johnny had basically done exactly what Ben did to him the first time that they met. Went out of control, hurt him badly. Daken's burned. No. He wasn't burned too bad. He healed up. Miss me? Yes, he did. He did. Okay. He's kind of pissed because the clothes was designer. What? They're kind of annoyed. Breaking into our house again? Johnny's upset, you know? Daken, you jerk! He's like, you let me think you were dead. Why don't you just say something? Again, with the trust. I thought you trusted us. You know? Because Johnny's already full blast with trust mode with him. Daken's earned his trust completely, like off panel. That's why I say so much took place off panel with these two. Right? It's like, I'm here now because you're the only ones I can trust. Alright, that's it. He's trying to, like, appeal to all of them. He's like, we don't give a shit about the BS that he be saying. He's just like, he's logical. He's like, what about that note? He's like, oh, poor planning. It was perfect planning, right? He wanted them, he gave them that note so that way they would be like, if they ever heard something happen, they'll be like, oh, something happened. You know, he warned us. He's trying to, like, instill guilt in them, you know, trying to guilt trip them. But the only one, because the connection is so emotional, and the only one who actually cared, the only one who's guilt tripped was him, Johnny. The only one. He knew that. Right? That's what come when Romulus says, no one will ever care for you. He knew. He's like, someone cares. That one. You know that there's so much power in, like, having that from somebody who cares, right? blah, blah, blah. He's like, I didn't intend for people to think I was dead. Yes, he did. He did. He lies so easily, okay? He's like, but once it happened, it was the perfect way for me to start over without the Osborn legacy. He's always twisting it for them with the Osborn stuff because they feel so bad with him with the Osborn stuff. He's like, without the Osborn. Ben don't be buying it. He said it last time. Give me a break. Ben don't be buying it. Ben, he's sold, but Ben's like, hey! You know? Here we go again. Here we go again. This isn't even directed at Johnny, but here we go again. Just like a finger in between them. That's how close it is, right? But there's a reason this is here. This is the sob story again. If you hear this is sob story, I made mistakes. I'm not a good person, you know? I want to change it. This appeals to Johnny so much. This applies to Johnny so much, you know? Johnny too always feels like he questions, like, you know, how he's perceived. Johnny doesn't like when people don't like him, believe it or not. You know, he doesn't like that. We could talk about that some other time. He does not like that. Okay? When people call him out and think about him negatively, he doesn't like that. Okay? So he also, like, Johnny too wants to change so much. So, like, there's such a connection here, like a beeline from right to here. Because all this stuff that he's saying, Johnny feels it so much. He's like, it's hard though when people look at you and see only one thing, when they judge you before giving you. That's him. This is exactly how he feels. He feels like everyone judges him, but they don't really know him. You know, he's saying, this is my opportunity to prove I could be someone different. Listen, this is the manipulation tactic. You know, Johnny's buying it. He already bought it back in. He's like, I don't know about this bullshit. Oh, please. Right? He's like, eventually the time comes when time is right, I'll come out as myself, you know. They'll see me as I am instead of what I was. He's just BSing. Ben's not buying it. He's like, pretty talk! What's all that craziness that went down tonight? Or whatever. He's like, I'm dead, remember? You know? He's like, thank God I have impeccable timing. He's like, you expect me to knock, did you? Oh my God. Basically. Okay, so here's the next one. Just like before with Mystique and before with the woman, Doc can just be getting dressed in front of people. This is Johnny's clothes. Because Daken obviously had no clothes over here. Johnny burned off all of his clothes. This is Johnny's room, I believe. Or at least a guest room, okay? But like, Johnny just brought him here and just sat on the bed. He's quiet. He's just thinking, okay? He's just thinking. And when Johnny doesn't like to think. Here he is, thinking, okay? He hates this. This is the worst part of life for him, okay? But he's like, he knows. He's got his hooks in Johnny, okay? The hooks are there. He's like, you're being very quiet. He's got dressed in front of him. This is designer pants. He just like traded designer for designer, okay? This got to be Johnny's room because there's full blast clothes. Why would they be clothes in the guest room, okay? He's like trying to play it up with the sob story. It works. It's gonna work. He's full of guilt. He's also confused, you know. And he's like, "Sorry, Johnny. Really, I am." He's not sorry. This all worked out exactly how he wanted. And then he's like, "This is the guilt." He's like, "When I thought you had died, I was sorry." So here he is apologizing, but he's claiming he's sorry. He's not genuinely sorry. But he is genuinely sorry. He's like, I'm sorry. He's like, more sorry than you know. Felt terrible I wasn't there for you. You know? Johnny knows what it's like. He knows what it's like to be alone. And he feels bad that Daken felt alone. You know? He feels bad. He says, thank you. In Johnny's clothes, posing for him up against his friggin' closet door. He's like, but he has a confession. He had another reason for coming here. He needs help with something. I figured as much. Johnny's aware. To some degree, Johnny knows. Look, I figured as much. I didn't know how to ask. So do it. Just ask. It's not hard, right? This is a pattern of their relationship, basically. So much is off panel, but why is Johnny not surprised that Daken says, I need help with something? I'm here for another reason. He was like expecting this, like, I know. I know that, like, you're not just here to spend time with me. This is a pattern, okay? There's so much off panel. So much off panel, right? He's not happy about Daken being here, okay? He, too, was like, he's, like, trying to be funny. You guys look cute together, you know? Like, I'm telling you, he's a real bad apple, you know? He's like, you know, he's here trying to make nice with us. Like, this is convenience. And here he comes, okay? This was on purpose. This whole situation where he needs to ask for something, he needed Johnny isolated, alone, so that way he has Johnny vouching for him when he goes to ask Reed for what he needs. Johnny's going to vouch for him. He already knew. The gateway to Reed is Johnny's Storm. The gateway to the Baxter building, to the Fantastic, is Johnny's Storm. Okay? This is the maintenance of the relationship. The connection to the FF was established. This is how you maintain the relationship. Him. Okay? So here we come in. Okay? It's kind of like Johnny's here with support. Kind of like, ask a question, you know? He's like, he just comes right out. He's like, I need a weapon. Why? Because he already has Johnny Storm's support. Here, right here. He's right close by him. Not in the business of weapons, Daken. Right? He's like, I need to defend myself. You know? Johnny's there. Johnny's just like, give him what he wants, Reed, so I can get what I want from him. He knows. So Reed gives him something that's like, can't really kill anybody. It's like non-lethal or something like that, you know? Because Daken's like, basically Daken always tries to sell himself like, I'm not a villain. Like, I don't really want to hurt people and kill people, but man, I want to be able to defend myself. You know, my claws will kill somebody. He's like, all right, you can have this non-lethal weapon. Some BS. Ben's like, that tickled! Blah, blah, blah. Johnny's so giddy when Daken's around. Look at him. He's so freaking giddy. Look at him back here. He's giggling over there. He's smiling. Because Ben and him are talking. He's over here. Giddy. Giddy AF. So stupid. I'll make some enhancements. He's like, and Johnny's like, thank you, we appreciate it. And Johnny's asking him, do you need anything else? Johnny wants to make sure you get what you needed, Daken. Huh? Johnny's asking that. Not Reed, like, hey, do you need anything? No. Do you need anything else? And he's like, no. He's so happy. He's so pleased. I've got everything I need. Okay, this is an important scene here, actually. They're on top of the roof. The Baxter building roof. Right? Some time has passed. Johnny changed out of his clothes. Ben changed out of his clothes. They're all relaxing. Daken definitely stayed for some time. Right? Johnny's a little depressed here. Right? Why? Because Ben says it right here. Daken's saying goodbye. Daken's getting ready to leave. We don't know what happened in between this panel and this panel with these two. Where did they go? We don't know. But now Daken's leaving. There's definitely been some time that passed. Johnny somehow went back in his room and changed his clothes. Okay? Daken's leaving now. He's sad. Okay? Guess that means he's leaving. One-worded little answers. Yeah. Uh-huh. Real short visit. Got what he came for. Right? What did he come for? Just a weapon? Can't be that's all. Just a weapon? Here he comes. He comes out. Talking, making little funny stuff with Ben. Johnny was giggling earlier. He's not giggling no more. He's not giggling anymore. Okay? And then he says something real cute. Oh, I need hugs. Ben basically was kind of built some trust in him, you know. Obviously, he stayed long enough to interact with them some more that Ben even went a little soft on him. He's like, that's a shame. He's like, you're not so bad, punk. Even Ben knows. Even Ben knows it's time to give them some space. See, he departs. He says, take care of yourself, Daken. He leaves. He's like, you too, Ben. Okay. Now it's just them. Isolated. Again. He almost doesn't know how to start the conversation. So, yeah. Come up here often? It's peaceful. Peace. Peaceful. This is the key. It's peaceful. Pay attention. Is peace hard for you to come by? Sometimes. When I think too... See? Thinking too much. Everything is fine as long as Johnny Storm doesn't think too much. Right? Because when Johnny doesn't think too much, then he can keep doing whatever he's doing. Whatever this is fine as long as he doesn't think too much. Same thing happened with Alicia. With the whole situation with Alicia, right? When Ben was away in Battle World, he didn't have to think about Ben. He didn't have to think about anything, okay? He could just be with Alicia and not... If he thought too hard about it, then that was bad, okay? He didn't think about it until Ben came back from Battle World, and now he had to think about it, and then there was guilt, okay? That's why this is so important. Sometimes when I think too much, that's when peace flees him, when Johnny thinks too much. How about you? He's asking him about peace. Johnny's always asking him questions, too. He's always asking him questions. They want to know so much about each other. He's like, still looking for my version of peace. You'll find it. Johnny doesn't have peace, is what he admits. He doesn't have peace. Peace is only found up here when he's looking over at the world. It's like, it's a beautiful world. Yes, I suppose it is. Ben's saying, is he gone? Yep, he's sad. The man with the funny hair? Yes, sweetie. Ben's partial to him now. He's like, he ain't so bad. There goes Franklin running to his Uncle Johnny. Franklin's also very interesting. Franklin's such a storm, okay? He's such a storm. He's a Richards, but he's a storm more than anything. He looks like them. He looks like Uncle Johnny, okay? Even if you look at the life story of FF, spitting him, and they drew him, he looked just like Uncle Johnny. He is Uncle Johnny, okay? He looks just like him. He's such a storm, too, because these two are the most powerful members of the Fantastic Four. Hands down, the most powerful members of Fantastic Four, and he's the most powerful of all of them. He's a storm, okay? Johnny loves his little nephew so much. They don't even show it enough. Anyway, Sue senses it. Are you okay, Johnny? He's downplaying it. Good. Don't worry about me, sis. He's downplaying it. We started to question the whole thing with Daken. He's like, he does have impeccable. He's really not. Daken actually is planning things. You know? He's smart. He sees this beyond anything. He's caught up. He's caught up. Got me feeling it. Caught up. Johnny's caught the F up. This is such an interesting story that actually never got picked up on. So he's leaving the country now. He's going to Madripoor. He wants to build his empire in Madripoor, right? This was interesting. Remember I told you how the Winter Soldier killed his mother? He wanted revenge for that. That was going to happen next. But that actually never happened because Daniel Way ended up leaving the book. And the book ended up getting picked up by someone else. Okay, so wait. So we know about what Johnny's kind of wanted out of this relationship. Right? This is like, for Johnny, it's like an emotional connection. It's like a mirror in a way. Okay? This is someone who like he genuinely can connect to. Somebody who like can understand him on a level that even Spider-Man cannot understand him, right? Somebody who, he was literally saying this up here. What the hell is that? The sob story. You know? It's hard, though. People look at you and see only one thing when they judge you before giving you... That's Johnny in a nutshell, you know? That's something that Johnny doesn't really share with anybody. This is why Johnny feels so alone in life, okay? So, like, that's Johnny's perspective and why is Johnny drawn to him in a way? That's why, right? But then, like, so what about Daken, right? Because, like, it's more muddied when you're trying to decipher the situation from, like, Daken's point of view, right? Because, like, look, Daken doesn't talk about it, right? Like, we don't have any inner monologue. It's all just stuff on the page. And that's on purpose because they weren't really allowed to, like, on panel, they weren't really allowed to tell you the extent of their relationship. This is something that the writer confirmed. This is why if you ever see anything with interaction with the Fantastic Four or Johnny, really, there is nothing, there's no inner monologue or dialogue that's directly talking about his relationship with Johnny. They're just trying to show you on the page because they can't really confirm anything, right? So therefore, you can't really reach like a concise like sense of the matter, right? So like the leading character himself, right, is just as mysterious as his own motives, right? When it comes to this little situation, right? And it's kind of like, ironically, there's like so much more insight to Johnny's feelings than Daken's. And he's like the title protagonist, okay? He seems to like keep Johnny around for his usefulness, right? He evidently like only bothers with him when he needs something from him, right? As he's like the veritable gateway to Reed, right? To Reed's lab and his access to Mr. Fantastic and like the favors he could grant him, right? As we saw, right? So like for Johnny, right? For like no other reason, like besides his like affiliation with the FF, right? This is like his most useful connection in the world of the Marvel Universe. Johnny is Daken's most useful connection in the world of the Marvel Universe, right? And so like for him, it's important to like maintain that relationship. It's like for no other purpose than for like the purpose, then like for that purpose only, right? Like connection to Reed, to the FF. This is his gateway. This is access to them, right? Like the first family holds like a lot of great influence in like stop. So like the first family holds a lot of great influence and power, which is like hence their invincibility during like the Dark Reign era, which is like where they remain like the only real opposing force, as like every other superhero group fell like to the tectonic rumblings of the rising of Norman Osborn's empire. It was during this time, like precisely, that like naturally and like strategically Daken sought friendship with them, right? So like their protection was like an asset, and his like informal indebtedness to them repelled like any mistrust, right? At the same time, and through like interactive dialogue only, right, it's intimated that Johnny holds like a slightly greater significance to him than is like ever actually explored or like said aloud, right? And like a large contributor to this is that is Johnny genuinely like, he's genuine and he has like such genuine and unshakable belief in Daken's like ability to like reform, right? Though like we as the reader, we know that he's like a practiced, cunning villain with like unique abilities to like manipulate into situations to his liking, right? None of them know this, but we know this, okay? And Johnny constantly like offers his trust openly and willingly. Like there's such vulnerability that is akin to the traits of like a weak man. Like this is like what Johnny like is showing. Like these are the traits that Daken like would think is weak. This is weakness, right? This is why like he likes to portray himself as a weak person, right? On purpose, okay? Like completely on purpose, okay? So like Daken finds this to be both foolish and like kind of touching. Okay, kind of touching. See, like he's being honest here. This is Daken being so honest. I'm still looking for it. This is honesty that like we rarely like get on the page with him, right? So like after this, like this is like written by Dan Way, and I think her name's like Marjorie Liu, right? But after this stuff, after like this main story, he does like some like connection with like X-23, like a crossover book. Right, and then that they get to like some other writer or whatever the hell it is. I never actually read that. I didn't really. I don't know. I just didn't like the writing. I thought the writing was stank. Okay, I thought he was just doing whatever, you know. So like, I kind of renounced those issues, right? But I do accept because the guy also like in that run, like he put some strong implication that Daken was like, because like during that time like Johnny had died. Right? And so like he made like some implication that like Daken was like kind of like dismayed by Johnny's death and resented the way it had like affected him, right? Like he's such a paradoxical character, right? He has the powers to manipulate emotions and yet never fully assesses his own. Every single little thing about him is like fixated on his need for control, right? Which is like the very root of that, beginning with like himself. Like he needs to control himself in order to control other people, okay? So, like, it's never, like, entirely all that clear if or when he uses his powers to manipulate Johnny emotionally, but, like, he does it to everyone else, like, even to Ben, and so, like, it's easy to, like, assume, like, he must be on some level, you know? But, like, Johnny doesn't even need much manipulation. Like, He's a very giving character at heart. Like, and Daken just may have just, like, abused that, like, nature of him in a way.